Toastmasters chapter.
My name is Reed Barrett, and in 2014, all of my dreams were taken away from me. I had always hoped to be a fighter pilot in the United States Air Force, and I made it. I got the job until they found out I had a congenital heart defect that would remove me from the cockpit of the aircraft. That was my life. That was everything I had ever hoped to do. And then I realized there were other people just like me. I needed to get my message out to them. I needed to tell them that failure, while it's an everyday thing for all of us, doesn't mean it's the end of the road. My stepdad told me about a group called Toastmasters. Toastmasters gave me the strength to stand up on stage and convey a message to any audience that would resonate well with them and get them back on track, back on the saddle, and in the cockpit of their dreams. I'm happy to report that the interview skills that Toastmasters gave me got me hired by the 121st Fighter Squadron in Washington, D.C. to fly the F-16 Fighting Falcon. I can do the same for you. You just gotta find your why, but that's my why.
My name is Oscar Romero, and back in 2011, a colleague of mine said, "Hey dude, you should check out Toastmasters." Went to a couple meetings, really enjoyed it, even though I had taught English before and was used to being in front of people. I figured this would be a great organization to keep learning, and I ended up finding a really great passion for public speaking, and it radically changed my life and set me on a course of helping people overcome shyness and move into confidence. And that is my why.
Hi, my name is Maria McDonald-McNamara from Washington State. 6 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and then he passed away. I wanted to do something in his honor, but I didn't feel like I had the ability. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to organize it. I joined Toastmasters, and I went up their leadership track. It taught me how to organize, how to get people together, get a team together, and make that dream come true. This is my 5th year doing it, and I am so glad I have a way to honor my dad. This is my why.
Hi, I'm Sheila Sutherland, and I'm from Vancouver, Canada. A few years ago, I was a high school teacher, but I was diagnosed with a chronic illness that caused the way my brain processed information to change. I used to mix up my words. I would forget my words. I would have that moment of knowing what I wanted to say, but not being able to say it. This caused my confidence to plummet. I stopped speaking. I withdrew socially. I didn't want to talk to anyone. And then a couple years later, a friend of mine introduced me to Toastmasters. I was scared to death to try it out, but he kept encouraging me and saying, "Come as a guest, see what we do here." Eventually, I joined. I was still scared, but once I got through that first speech and realized that this was such a positive, supportive environment, I literally felt my neural pathways growing back together to help me figure out how to make my sentences work again. Now, my confidence is great, so much greater than what it used to be, and I'm happy to see where it's going to be going from here. And that is my why.
Hello, I'm Cheyenne. Thanks for visiting Toastmasters International to learn more about finding speech topics. Since 1924, we've helped more than 4 million people gain the confidence to communicate in all circumstances. One of the most demanding situations you'll ever face is speaking to an audience, and it can be daunting thinking up topics for your speech. So here are some time-tested tips to help you select a topic and focus it for your audience. And one of the most common fears is the fear of public speaking. And one reason is that people dread the lectern because they picture themselves at a loss for words. It can be terrifying. But Toastmasters knows that speech topics are all around us. You just need to learn how to recognize them. The best place to start looking for speech ideas is within yourself. You're an interesting person. Did you know that? A few specific areas in your life can hold speech topics. They might be your interests, your career, your family, or your education. On the other hand, your career can offer a lot of choices. Do you work with interesting people in an exciting setting or doing something unique? Alternately, What can you tell people about your family? What are your secrets for getting along? How would you describe your education? Did you attend a remarkable school? Of course, there are many more fascinating topics in your life, and all you need to do is ask yourself to reveal them. For example, what adventures have you been on? Have you climbed the Eiffel Tower or won a TV game show? What challenges have you faced in your life? Have you cared for a person who is ill? What kind of friends do you have? Do you know people involved in interesting careers or other activities? What's your favorite meal? And if you prepare it yourself, what's the recipe? Now, I know you could spend some time answering any one of these questions. Of course, talking about yourself is just the beginning. If you're still looking for topics, it's time to look elsewhere. 4 major resources can help you. Websites, newspapers, books, and magazines are all packed with stories and facts that you can use to make great speeches. Let's say you've never traveled to Canada, but you've always wanted to. There's plenty you can do to prepare for a speech about the trip you would like to take. Visit websites for the country, provinces, territories, cities, and tourist attractions that you could describe. Check newspapers for stories about Canada and the regions that you plan to visit. Visit the library, the bookstore, and look at books and travel magazines for more ideas. Research can help you look like a travel agent and sell your trip to your listeners. Offer tips that they can't resist. Look up topics like, what are the best deals? What are the most amazing sites? How would you travel from one place to another? And how could you go on a small budget? These are only a few ideas that you can find when reading through your reference materials. You'll have so many things to talk about, it could present a problem. So how do you choose from all the information? You might have some big ideas in mind, but they seem too broad for any one speech. Knowing your audience can solve this problem because you can focus on the information that they need to hear. Now, if you're speaking to a large audience composed of international business experts, you may want to focus your speech on the appropriate topics. For example, instead of talking about Canada as a great vacation destination in general, you could center your talk on the economic benefits of the country. On the other hand, if your audience is a small group of sports enthusiasts, you could describe the Canadian ski trip of your dreams. Other factors you might want to include could be the audience's age range, education, interests, and shared experiences. Another way to narrow down your topic is to make it relevant to the occasion or event where you'll be speaking. For example, if the event has a special theme, you could concentrate on that. Let's say you've been asked to speak at a grand opening of a business that has come to your town. You could research the company to find out more about it in general. Then, keeping it in line with your event, you could speak about the community's confidence in a prosperous future with their new partner. So now you can narrow down your topic by audience and the event, but there's still one more way to narrow it down. Well, you can probably speak on just about any topic with a proper research. There might be limitations to consider. First, if the audience is composed of experts in a field and are expecting a speech from one of their peers, you may not qualify to offer certain speeches. For example, your audience may be a group of lawyers who are interested in receiving new information on personal injury lawsuits. If you're not a lawyer, you may not want to lecture them on case law. However, if you were in a car accident and as a result you experienced the effects of a particular kind of injury law, you might have a powerful topic to speak about. You could describe your own experiences, including the challenges and rewards that came your way in the legal system. Of course, a lot depends on how you address the material, and ultimately, you might win over any audience with any topic if you have enough enthusiasm and knowledge to capture their interest. With these details, you'll take command of your speeches, and remember, topics are everywhere. For more information on finding speech topics, please visit a Toastmasters Club. Find a location near you at toastmasters.org.
Hello, I'm Jay. Thanks for visiting Toastmasters International to learn more about public speaking. Since 1924, we've helped more than 4 million people gain the confidence to communicate in all circumstances. And one of the most demanding situations you'll ever face is speaking to an audience. Here are some time-tested tips to help you prepare so that you feel empowered to impress others. If you pay attention to these 5 crucial tips when you plan and deliver your next speech, you'll have an easier time and your audience will get more out of the experience. Now, If you want to overcome nervousness, the first guideline is simply to know what you're talking about. You'll have an easier time giving a speech on a subject if you know the subject well. Want to speak about your favorite musician? Read any information on the person that you can find online or at your library. When you become an authority on your topic, the audience will want to learn what they can from you. And you won't have to struggle to keep your messages straight if you know the messages well. Once you've mastered your topic, the next step is to master your presentation. Make sure you rehearse the entire speech so that you will be comfortable presenting it. And practice any difficult parts repeatedly until they flow smoothly. Whether or not you memorize each word, you should make sure you know the order of your messages. That's why new Toastmasters members begin with the icebreaker speech. It's a chance to talk about the subject you know best, yourself. Then all you have to focus on is practicing how well you tell your story. Understand the importance of knowing who will be listening to you and where you will be when you give your presentation. Both the audience and location can create limitations that are important to understand. For example, if you are a researcher, you might speak about the math behind your work. Now, if you're addressing a group of college professors, you could use highly technical language to discuss a sophisticated research project. Would you do that if you were describing your work to a group of school children? For young kids, wouldn't it be better to talk about how people learn things through research? Knowing your audience means understanding and respecting their particular characteristics. Before you prepare your speech, their geography, politics, culture, and age, and other traits will define them as a group and will guide you in tailoring your presentation to fit their needs. Be sure to check out your location before you present. Will there be enough space on stage for everything you need? If you're planning to deliver a PowerPoint presentation, are you sure they'll have a screen? Or have you been placed in an outdoor amphitheater with too much sun for anyone to see the screen? What about audience size? Will a sound system be available if you need it? All these questions are important to answer before you take the stage. This is an eye-opener. For you, not your audience. You'd be surprised how much an audience misses during a presentation. If you make a minor mistake, such as skipping a portion of your speech or forgetting a few words, don't worry. Your audience most likely doesn't have a clue. Just keep going, and you'll find your way back on track with your next point. If you apologize, you call attention to the wrong part of your presentation, which takes away the important point you want to make. An advanced speaker knows how to guide the audience's attention toward the important parts and away from the small stuff. Whether you make a mistake or not, just remember that people want you to do a good job. And because of that, they're rooting for you. It helps to remember this with the next tip. A great way to find success is to visualize it. Give yourself time for this important form of preparation. See yourself making important, valid points with appropriate gestures and body language that emotionally connect you with your audience. Once you see yourself using what works, you'll feel more relaxed and confident. And don't forget to imagine pausing while your audience applauds wildly. Some beginning speakers let their nervousness win because they make the mistake of focusing entirely on themselves. When something goes wrong, for example, your reaction can cause your voice to shake. Then all you hear is a shaky voice. That becomes the focus of your thoughts. But remember, you're giving a talk for an important reason. Keep that reason in mind and focus on what's really important, your message. Find the passion to entertain, educate, inspire, or motivate your audience, and you'll find your purpose and your voice. For more information on public speaking, please visit a Toastmasters Club. Find a location near you at www.toastmasters.org.
Toastmasters is a platform where you can that teaches you how to cultivate courage by not only embracing your strengths, but also your vulnerabilities. So that when you get out and when you start speaking in the real world and trying to impact lives, you're actually able to exude all of the qualities of a true leader.
There's little clubs that are going on all over the world in every city, every time of the day, helping people nurture their self-confidence, grow, develop their communication and leadership.
Every meeting you learn something new, and it's entertaining, it's fun, it's a learning opportunity.
It's a place to practice speaking. It's kind of like a gym for public speaking, if you will.
Each and every member in the organization I meet is positive. They are always there to encourage you, they're always there to guide you, to support you.
This is probably the best thing that you can do for your career. Communication, no matter what job you have, communication is key.
What has surprised me the most about joining Toastmasters was how it revealed things that I never thought I could do. I never thought I could write. I never thought I could speak in public. I never thought I could control my voice.
I realized that even though I joined Toastmasters to become a better communicator, that I've become an accidental leader.
Knowing that you have that power and ability to make other people better is really humbling and is very empowering at the same time.
Don't say no. Try it. Go to a meeting and spend the time to really appreciate what the meeting has to offer you, what Toastmasters has to offer.
I am able to see improvement in everything that I do. The more I do the roles, the more I do the speeches, I realize that I am better at what I'm doing. So that's why I keep coming back.
Contestant number 4, Verity Price. A great read. A great read, Verity Price.
When I was a little girl, I used to love snuggling on my dad's lap while he read me fairy tales. Not surprisingly, I grew up wanting the fairy tale. To be happily married with beautiful kids, a gorgeous home, and a great career by 30. I never dreamed I would turn 40, unmarried, no children, and living in my sister and brother-in-law's spare room. For my ego, this was a scary tale. So I hid in the spare room, eating ice cream and binge watching Netflix. On his chair, have you ever noticed that at your worst, you always run into someone at their best? I had dragged myself to the shops just to get more ice cream, thinking no one I know is going to be there. But there she was, that friend. You know the one. Your life is perfect. And they tell you. Here I am, hand on fridge, stuck, having to hear how happily ever after she has ended up. Are you married? With kids? And your own business? And you bought a house? Me? Great. I wanted to die. I was a mess. My life was a mess. The spare room was a mess. But this was the mess where I found the last letter my dad ever wrote me. Seeing his familiar handwriting just flooded me with grief. Verity, your life is a book. And if you're not enjoying the read, write a different story. And then watch for a miracle, because I'm watching too. I shout at miracles, Dad, and how? How do I write a different story about this? To prove my point, I went to Facebook. And you guessed it, there were no stories of miserable 40-year-olds living in spare rooms. the letter just lay there. It was like it was looking at me, almost whispering, write a different story. If anyone could write a different story, it was my dad. He wasn't a glass half full guy. He was a, aren't I lucky I've got a glass guy. When Dad was 60, he lost his job. We lost our home, and we had to live in a camper van. But the story Dad told was, we get to live like we're on holiday. He never complained that he'd gone from a corner office to selling insurance, door to door. Instead, the story he told was, I'm working on my sales skills. And the miracle that happened, Dad was Salesman of the Year, and he bought us a new home. And even in our last phone call, on his way to hospital, do you know what he said to me? Don't worry, V. You know I love breakfast in bed. Shame hit me like a bus. My whole life, Dad had been showing me how to write a different story. So I picked up my pen. I looked at that friend and I thought, 40 is going to be my best chapter. I looked at the spare room and thought, this is my safe place to start over. I looked at my love life, and do you know what I thought? I have got to stop kissing frogs. When I wrote a different story, my life began to change. I went from feeling shameful to feeling grateful. And for the first time, I stopped worrying about where I wasn't. And I started enjoying where I was. And the miracle that happened, within 6 months, I'd moved into a new cottage, much to my sister's relief. Within a year, I'd kissed a prince, much to my relief. At 44, I had a baby boy, much to my doctor's disbelief. This letter catapulted me into discovering that it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what chapter of your life you're in. Something as simple as choosing to write a different story can make difficult circumstances a lot easier to deal with. Now, I think you'll agree with me when I say the last 2 years have been a rough read for us all. But we've also written different stories, ones where neighbors get to serenade each other and businesses get to pivot and innovate. And my all-time favorite was that time when we all waved our wands and bippity, bippity, your room turned into an auditorium and mine an international stage. My fellow storytellers, do you know what I've learned? Fairy tales are great to read to my son. Real life is full of detours, delays, things that go wrong. But if your life is a book, then every day you get to decide, is your story being written for you or by you? When my dad reminded me that I was the author of my life changed. So if you're looking for a change, you want a new chapter, or you just fancy a miracle, pick up your pen and write a different story. Trust me, it's going to make for a great read. Content share.
Okay, for us to have a simplest program, let us be connected virtually to the rest of the participants. Ensure that your device is fully charged Likewise, consider using headphones, earphones, so you will not miss any important details in our webinar. Grab the opportunity to get the best practices from our keynote speaker. Feel free to share the snippets of your learning in the chat box. Attend the full session of the webinar and don't miss the surprise that awaits you. Camera on and audio off. Moreover, please use this naming convention, district, division, and area club name. For our guest, follow this naming convention, guest name. You can use the provided virtual background. Welcome to our Division K learning session. To start our program, let us put ourselves in the presence of our Lord for our invocation, followed by our national anthem.
Dear Lord, we praise and worship you today. You are exalted in our midst. We ask for forgiveness for every sin we have done. Have mercy on us, our Father. As we start our program today, let your guidance and protection be upon us. Send your Spirit to us and give us wisdom. We thank you for all the blessings we have received. We also thank you for the lives of the people in this place. Be glorified in everything we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
May we call on the Division Director, Toastmaster Jules Cruz.
Wayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyad ka ng magiting, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisiin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pamali magdidilim, lupa ng araw ng luwalhati at pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng pagmay mang-api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
May we call on the Division Director, Toastmasters Julius Cruz, for a call to order.
Hello, everyone. By the power vested on me by Toastmasters International, as Director of Division K under District 75, I now declare our learning event as officially open.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, fellow Toastmasters, please welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Robbie Lorenzo, our Division K champion, and from Imus Wagayway, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, TM Mix, for that very generous introduction. Thank you to our guests and members who joined us today. This is an exciting event for everyone, I'm sure. It's quite an exciting event for me personally. I know I learned a lot from our 2021 World Champion of Public Speaking, Verity Price. And for DTM Verity, we are so honored today that you chose to spend your Saturday live with us. This event actually brings me back to the last Toastmasters year's competition, from club level to area to division and then district. Each level, you meet new people, new contenders, and each level you're faced with better and better speakers. This also brings me back to when I was drafting my own speech that I used for the competitions. I found it a bit hard to write my own story because, well, there was really nothing special about me, or so I thought. And when I watched DTM Verity's winning speech, A Great Read, that's the title of the speech, it took me back as to how I used a fairly ordinary story. It was about my family not being able to let go of their trinkets, old books, letters, toys, into something people can relate to. It's a great story with an equally inspiring lesson. But this afternoon is not about me. Oh, thank God. It is, of course, about the inspiring story of our speaker for today. So, without further delay, let's start with our activities, starting with raising our right hand for the Toastmasters promise.
The Toastmasters promise. As a member of Toastmasters International in my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my speech and leadership projects to the best of my ability, basing them on Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities.
All right, we may now put down our hands. Thank you again to our guests, members of District 75, and to the members of other districts who joined us today, and of course to our guests. Now, I'm not the only one who'd like to welcome you today. To give you his welcome remarks, may I call on the virtual stage our dashing Division K Director, DTM Julius Cruz. DTM Julius, you have the virtual floor.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Robbie, for that generous introduction. You made me feel dashing, as if I'm really dashing. Who among us here would want to live a life of positive legacy? Please press the heart emoji if yes, you do. Come on, let me see those emojis coming. Great, great, great. Thank you very much for your engagement. Indeed, a good number of us would want to live a life of positive legacy. It is said that success is when you achieve your dreams. Significance is when you help other people achieve their dreams as you achieve yours. But legacy is when you live a life of both success and significance. It is an inherent yearning in the heart of every soul living in our wonderful world to author a life of meaning. Every day, we spend our lives doing things that we earnestly believe will add color, texture, and aroma to our lives. We jump out of bed, either due to our aspirations or due to our alarm clock, which has been snoozed for 9 times already, go through our usual daily routine, and thereafter end the day by dropping like a sack of potatoes on our bed. Then repeat the same process 7 days a week for the next 52 weeks or so, while at the same time watching the popular Netflix series The Squid Game along the way. But the question is there more to life than this? Can we break out of the cycle of wake up, work, head home, sleep, and wake up again? Do we have the power to write or rewrite our life story and live a life of meaning towards a life of positive legacy? Friends, fellow Toastmasters, the answer is a resounding yes. We are the author of our own life story, not just the reader of it. In our hands is the power of the writing pen that gives us the opportunity and enables us to write word for word, chapter per chapter, from introduction to conclusion, our uniquely beautiful life story. The challenge thus is to equip our writing pen with learnings that will enhance its capability to direct us to write from the heart guided by wisdom and our life's purpose, so that our life story will be a bestseller that inspires, enables, and empowers other people to likewise write or rewrite their own. Let's get ready then to sharpen our writing pens as we actively listen, engage, and absorb from the fire hydrant of wisdom coming from our 2021 Toastmasters World Champion in Public Speaking, Distinguished Toastmaster Verity Price. My question is, are you ready to be empowered to write your own magnificent life story that will leave a lasting positive legacy? Can you please unmute your microphone and with much passion say, yes, I am ready.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm ready. Love you all.
Hey, great. I love the energy. I love the passion. So please, once again, mute your mic and get ready to rumble. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Robbie.
Thank you very much, DTM Julius, for that encouraging message. And you're absolutely right. A legacy it's living a life of both success and significance. Now, that said, I think it's time for us to write our own life story. As always, you've already given us value to this event, even before we've gotten to the meat of it. Now, before I introduce our speaker, our feature speaker, we'd like to show you this video of where our speaker is from. Worthy to note is that she's the first ever speaker from Africa to be crowned World Champion of Public Speaking. Now, that said, let's play this video. All right. Okay. Now, I hope everybody is already excited. I love those pictures. It just takes me back to when, we can travel again soon. Now, I hope again everybody excited. So for those who are excited to hear from our feature speaker, I would like you to type the word excited. I'd like to see in the chat box who is excited this afternoon. There you go. Everybody is still with me. All right. Now, all right. Everybody is excited. I can see in the chat box. Now, this is the part that we've all been waiting for. Super excited. All right, super excited. Now, question. What does it take to be the first? That's the question. Way back in 2005, Verity started her journey as the first South African musician with tenacious foresight to get online crowdfunding for an album she hasn't even recorded yet. Wow, right? 15 years later, and a career glittered with accolades, it brings us to 2021, today, and Verity's latest big first speaker from Africa to ever be crowned world champion of public speaking and the sixth woman in history. That's the second wow. And her talent for acting out of the box rather than merely thinking out of it has brought international success for Verity, speaking globally on innovation and thinking differently, which includes, are you ready for this? 2 TEDx talks. That's the third wow. As the Toastmasters 2021 world champion, Verity captured judges and thousands of people's imagination with her winning speech, A Great Read, an inspiring invitation to improve our lives by writing a different story. Helping people to do just that is Verity's passion. With a degree in psychology and anthropology from UCT, as an accredited Debano 6 Thinking Hats facilitator and an advocate for positive psychology, Verity believes passionately that change happens when teams have the confidence to create new ideas. She has crafted speeches and workshops to grow this ability with immeasurable exponential success over the last decade. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome 2021 World Champion for Public Speaking, Verity Price.
Wow. What an incredible warm welcome to District 75. I am so thrilled to be here. Thank you for welcoming me so beautifully. And I wish I was there in person so we can all dream about when those borders open up and you can come visit Southern Africa and I will come visit the Philippines. But just amazing to be here with all of you and to share my journey to the World Championships of Public Speaking and inspire you to pick up your pen, write your story, turn your Toastmasters journey into the legacy that you want it to be. So I'm really excited to spend the next 30 minutes or so with you unpacking that. But the first question I want to ask, and I see the engagement here is wonderful, so let's keep using it. Let's use that chat box. Can you tell me if you like winning? Just put in yes into the chat box if you like winning. I see it coming through, and it can be anything, a raffle, a car, the lottery, the international speech contest. Yes, yay, absolutely. Okay, so lots of people that love winning. I see there's some hands going up. Fantastic. So there's a story of a man who loved winning, and the thing he wanted to win most in the world was the lottery. So every Saturday night, he would sit in front of his television and he would watch those numbers being called, and he wouldn't win. So the next Saturday night, he'd be back there going, maybe tonight is my night, tonight is my night. And he wouldn't win. And after months of disappointment, one night in total frustration, he looked up at the sky and he said, why? Why do I never win? And a voice came down from the sky saying, you might want to buy a ticket. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Toastmasters, in March of this year, I bought my ticket. I put my name in the hat for the International Speech Contest, And on the 28th of August, I won the proverbial Toastmasters lottery when I heard that dream come true and the winner is. My life has been changed forever, but this was not a journey that I was guaranteed. And unlike the lottery, there is no luck involved, just a lot of hard work, dedication, and determination. Now, this wasn't the first time I ever entered. I entered back in 2012 and I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was just a club contest. I didn't really spend any time on my speech. And I had a bit of a closed mindset of, I'm a good speaker, I'll be fine. My sister, Kay, on the other hand, also entered that year with the mindset of, I'm a nervous speaker, I need to learn, I need to grow. And she beat me at club. I was not impressed. I was so arrogant. I was not expecting to hear that I'd come second. And then I had to watch her win area, division, and she even became the third woman to ever win district. Oh, it was not easy, but eventually I got over what for my ego was another scary tale. And I went and confessed to her my jealousy, and being an amazing woman, she said, oh, V, I understand. It's not easy having people win when you want to win, but thank you for telling me. And I became one of her coaches and her mentors as she prepared for the world semifinals. And I saw the effort that went into this contest. I saw the obstacles she had to overcome of her self-doubt and her own anxiety, the challenge of writing a second amazing story to deliver should she get to the finals, and having to get all that feedback from other Toastmasters to apply to her speech, and then also lean into and learn from the success of previous champions, watching their videos, seeing how she could learn from it. In August of 2012, I watched online. I couldn't travel to America with her, and I sat with bated breath with my club members. And for the first time in her 6-month journey, we heard, and in second place, Kay Price Lindsay. She was beaten by a young speaker by the name of Ryan Avery, who 2 days later went on to become the world champion of public speaking. So we still are convinced if she'd been in a different semi-final, she might have made the finals, but we'll never know. But witnessing her journey, I saw the mindset that goes into being a champion and winning at this contest. And as a result, I just never entered again because that looked like too much work. I'd go, I don't have the speech, I don't have the time, I don't have what it takes. And maybe you felt like that sometimes when it comes to contests. So what changed? Well, November last year, I wrote a speech for a club meeting. And when I'd finished writing, it was a little story about how my mom used to teach me to leave the world better than I found it. And a voice said, that could do well in the speech contest. And a moment later it said, and I think you might win. What? Win? Have you any idea how hard it is? But it said, you'll never know if you don't buy your ticket. And so I entered, and I entered with the trophy in my sights. I wanted this. I heard them calling my name for 6 months. I lived into the visualization that maybe this was possible for me. There was no guarantees, but I was prepared to take the chance. And so for the first time, and I'd entered in 2015, I'd entered lots of other contests, impromptu evaluations, humorous, but I entered this contest with what I call as a champion mindset that I'd learned from my sister Kay. And how that mindset works, and this for everyone, I believe, is the same. There are going to be obstacles to entering a contest. It's going to require time. It's going to require effort. Maybe there's things in your way. It was lockdown. I had an 18-month-old baby. I was having to use my bedroom with bad internet and electricity cuts. But my husband said he would support me. My parents-in-law said I could use their house if their internet was better. And I found my way around those obstacles. Then came the challenge of finding that second story. It's one thing to have your first speech. What do you do for your final speech if you get to the finals? I wrote 4 different stories looking for that. And I loved what you said, Robbie. It doesn't need to be an extraordinary story. It needs to be something small that mattered to you, that taught you something that you can share with your audience. And I ended up speaking about a letter that I found on a hard day, but I turned it into a speech that mattered to the audience. So that was the challenge of finding the stories. Then came the effort that I had to put in. And we are talking 2 to 4 hours a day for the final 4 months or 3 months. I spoke at 42 clubs, 16 countries, 5 continents. I was sometimes speaking up to 4 hours a day, 4 clubs a day. But I knew that if I wanted to win and potentially win and just know that I gave myself a chance, I had to put in that effort. And so having watched my sister put in the effort, I was prepared to go the distance. Why? Because this contest is the Olympics of public speaking. And there is not one athlete who goes to the Olympics who hasn't trained every day. All right. So I put in the effort. When you put in that effort, you start speaking at clubs, you have to get comfortable getting feedback. I received feedback from more than 200 Toastmasters, all telling me what I could or couldn't do with my speeches. That was not easy. At times I felt like running away. But what I learned was that you have to make friends with feedback if you want to have an exceptional speech. The mindset you have to have is that your speech isn't for you, it's for your audience. So ask them what they want and write the speech that they need. And once you've got that feedback, the final step is to lean into and learn from the success of others. There have been 80 world champions. The fact that you're here right now tells me you want to learn from the success of others. We can learn from those who've gone before us, from what they did and how it worked for them, and then we can apply it back to ourselves. How does their strength work in your unique voice, your unique story, your unique style of speaking? So those were the 5 things that for me made the difference this year. I embraced the obstacles. I took on the challenge of finding a story and writing many stories before I landed on a great read. I embraced the effort that I needed to put in, and I made the time. I didn't find the time, I made the time. I didn't have the time, so I had to make it to make sure that I put that effort in. And then I made friends with feedback and learned from the success of others. So if you take those 5 things into your next contest and understand that it's not an easy journey and it's not going to come without some challenging moments, then at least you can embrace the journey and see where it takes you. And I just want to share with you, I've been speaking to previous champions and fellow Toastmasters who've reached the finals, and I'm not alone in the experience that I had. And I've actually just got some notes here because I'm still getting all this info from them. But here's something to bear in mind. Most people who reach the finals write that first speech 3 months before the club contest. So they start preparing for success long before someone at the club has said we're having a contest. 67% of them have a coach or a mentor that helps them, and 33% of them paid for that mentorship. I paid a lot of money for mentorship because I knew that I needed international help to give an international speech. 66% of finalists and champions speak at more than 40 clubs in their practicing. They practice their speech more than 200 times, and about 66% of them write 30 versions or more. So you need to know that great speeches aren't written, they are rewritten. I wrote 32 versions of my final speech, 30 versions of my semi-final speech. So you get comfortable with rewriting your speech. Just when you think you cannot change it, you will make it better. And 70% of people who reach the finals spend an average of 1 to 3 hours a day practicing their speeches, working on their speeches, filming them, getting feedback, tweaking them, and shifting them and making them better for the last 2 months of the contest. So I think you can hear it's a lot of work. It's actually easier to win the lottery. You can just keep buying a ticket and hoping for the best. But like the lottery, you can only win if your name is in the hat. So I have my question to you is, are you going to buy your ticket this year? Who is buying a ticket this year for the speech contest? Let's see. Who is buying? And you can also unmute and say, me, own it. Who's buying a ticket this year for the international speech contest? Everyone's shy, going, oh, it's Verity, it sounds like far too much work. Why would we ever do that? Me. Awesome, Robbie. Yay, I'm so glad. Because when you buy the tickets, only one person is guaranteed to win. Everyone else is guaranteed to grow. And if you can enter this contest with the mindset, and this I heard from a fellow finalist, is saying you can buy a piece of, Perspex trophy at any trophy store. But if you write and enter this contest with the mindset that you want to give a speech that is a gift to your audience, there's a win there already. Whether you only go as far as club, if you give a speech that has a message that matters to you, you've already won. So buy your tickets and give yourself the gift of growth that comes with this. And talking about gifts, when this little guy arrived, that was probably the best gift I've ever unwrapped, but I love unwrapping presents. So who here enjoys gifts? Do you like getting gifts? Do gifts make you happy? You can just put up emojis if you love unwrapping gifts. I see some people nodding. Yes, absolutely. Okay, fabulous. And actually, I know we'll pop it in the chat a few times, but I do have a gift for you today. If you join my mailing list, I will be giving you a little free booklet to take you through all the tips that I share with you today. So do that and get your gift from me. I am a gift junkie. I love gifts. And that meant in my culture, my favorite day of the year is Christmas. As a little girl, coming down on Christmas morning and seeing piles of presents packed under that Christmas tree filled me with joy. I was so excited. I couldn't wait to unwrap them. And even as an adult, we make a big deal of Christmas in our family. And there are always way too many presents and we've all spent way too much money, but we love it. A few years ago, something changed. I came down on Christmas morning and there was not one present under the tree. I had this horrible feeling of apprehension, like, oh, what have we done? This doesn't look right. But I also felt quite curious and excited because we decided to do things differently that year. An hour or so later, family and friends started arriving, and each person was carrying a solitary but sensationally wrapped gift. And they put it with reverence under the tree, and everyone started feeling super curious and excited. Because what we decided to do was have a white elephant Christmas. Now, I'm just wondering, do any of you know what a white elephant is? I've just got to check. And if you don't, there's that thing that you have in your house, that trinket that Robbie was talking about that you don't use and you've like forgotten about. You keep meaning to get rid of it. And then you go, actually, what can I do with it? So we have Christmases now where you take that, you wrap it amazingly, and then you try and fool everyone into choosing your gift. It is such fun. No money is spent, but the experience and the spirit of giving and generosity is there. For the next hour, we laughed until we cried. People pulled at the ribbons, they tugged at the sticky tape, they tore away the paper, only to discover an unused cookbook or an oversized novelty coffee cup, or even, very surprisingly, a rusty hamster cage. But the thing that was amazing, so even though we'd given away things that had no value to us, time and time again, the more fun someone had unwrapping their gift, the more likely they seemed to be to love what they get and find a reason for it. My brother-in-law's bachelor friend said, oh, a cookbook, I can impress my dates. I looked at my oversized coffee cup and thought, well, I'll turn that into a pot plant. And when my cousin Robin opened the rusty hamster cage, she looked at us and said, this is unbelievable. My daughter just said she wants a hamster. So before you start going, why on earth is Verity telling us about her crazy Christmases? I want to share with you what I have learned in 10 years as a Toastmaster and in the 8 years it took me to become, or 8 months in this journey to become world champion. And it's a very simple lesson. It's that great speeches are a gift that you give to your audience. So really take that in. Great speeches are a gift that you give to your audience. The gift that you give them ultimately, once they've unwrapped the story that you've put around it, is your message. But how you wrap it and how you take them on the journey of discovering the message is what makes it a great speech and makes it a speech worth remembering. So you always have choices how you wrap things. And depending on how you wrap it is going to affect the experience the audience has. So if I was giving you a gift, I could give it to you like this. It's a bit boring. It's like, okay, well, thanks. I didn't put much effort in, but thank you. You got me a gift. So I could give it to you like this. Or I could take all the fun out of it and I could give it to you like this. Now, I don't know if you've ever had an experience where someone just tells you up front exactly what they're giving you and you're like, oh, well, where's the curiosity? Where's the fun? Where's the excitement? And I'm doing this for you because as Toastmasters, we sometimes do this for our audience. Our titles already told them what to expect. The first few sentences of our speeches already told them what to expect. There's no journey in that. That's not exciting. So you always have that option. Don't do this one, please. Or you can give them a gift that looks like this. Get them excited, draw them in, make them want to get in there and find out what's inside. So just put in the chat, which do you prefer? Do you want the bag or the box? Which one do you want? Bag or the box? Box, 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 box.
Box,
Yay. Absolutely, because the box looks interesting. It creates curiosity. And that's what you need to do with your audience. You need to create curiosity so that they come towards the gift that you're trying to give to them. I see someone wants the bag, but I'm going to keep talking about the box for now. So you want to create curiosity with your audience, and then you want to create a sense of connection where they feel like you've thought about them, that you care about them. Because once they've opened your speech and got down to the gift of your message, you should have commitment from them to want to take it on. So curiosity, create connection so that you, in the result is that you get commitment to your message. So I'm going to take you through how we do this as a speech. And it's 4 steps to writing a winning speech that I've discovered over this year. And it takes this word gift and just breaks it down for you. I'm going to start with the G. The G stands for get clear on your message. The most important part of any speech is the message that the audience walks away with. And Diane Boyer says, if you can't say your message in a minute, you're not going to be able to say it in an hour. Please just remember that. If you can't say it in a minute, you can't say it in an hour. So the thing to bear in mind is a great speech will only have one message. It can't have 2 messages or conflicting messages. It needs to have one core message that you are giving to the audience. And you need to be able to write it in 10 words or less, and ideally as a powerful action statement. If you look at winning speeches and previous champions, you'll see those statements are there. Do you validate? Reach out. The victory is in the try. Write a different story. It's a very clear action statement that people can do. This is probably the hardest step of writing a winning speech. It's going, how do you get to that great message? In my speech, A Great Read, I went through 4 message statements before I landed on write a different story. That only came 10 days before the finals. I worked on the speech for 100 days. I started off with happiness is a choice. I changed it to look for the good, then change the way you look at things. And finally, through feedback and rehearsing and refining my speech, I landed on write a different story. And when I found a powerful message phrase, the whole speech changed. Because suddenly I could start on my dad's knee listening to fairy tales. I could speak about frogs and princes and boopity boopity boo. So if you keep refining down to that message statement, it could actually give your speech a whole new thread. So really work on getting clear on your message, 10 words or less, so that it's inspiring, memorable, and it moves your audience to want to commit to it and take it home with them. Get clear on your message. The I of the gift is intentionally structure your story. Now, stories can be very complicated, especially when it's something that happened to us and we're trying to put in all the details. You need to strip away as much as you can and as clearly as possible communicate the story that best communicates your message. Some ways to do this. Start off with a very clear setting that instantly puts your audience into your story. I started on my dad's knee. People have had that experience before, and that set up why I was disappointed with my life at 40, and now I was stuck in a room eating ice cream and watching Netflix. The setting was there. Next, you need to make sure they've met the hero of your story, which is often ourselves, because the stories are about things that have happened to us, and we need to connect them with our weakness and the obstacle that we're facing. So I immediately put myself into a supermarket speaking to that friend. And what I was doing there was letting the audience connect to my vulnerability and start to want me to overcome it. So this is the tension you create in your story. And it's a bit like the unwrapping. It's like you're wanting to pull that sticky tape off, but you're trying not to rip the paper. You build that anticipation. Just when you've heightened that tension, you need to start showing that there's some hope, there's some resolution. And that's when you introduce a mentor or a guru. Now, that could be a person, or it could be an inanimate object that teaches you and your character a lesson that is going to change their problem. Very important here, you can never be the guru of your speech. People do not like being lectured to, so the guru should be someone or something outside of you. In my story, it was my dad. It was the letter I found from him. And in that letter was the message of my speech. Your life is a book. If you're not enjoying the read, write a different story. Now that you've delivered that message, you have a choice. You can either suddenly change and miraculously transform and everything's solved, or you can show that you were resistant to that change, which is more normal. In my early versions of the speech, I changed way too quickly and people felt that they didn't trust my story. And I realized that I'd left out the fact that it wasn't easy for me to write a different story. So you want to put in that resistance, and this gives you the opportunity to sometimes repeat your message statement. And I'll use my speech to illustrate. I read, write a different story. I looked up at Dad and went, how can I write a different story? I looked at Facebook, no stories of people living in spare rooms. The letter looked at me, it said, write a different story. Within 30 seconds, I'd said my message 3 times in 3 different ways, without the audience feeling like they're being lectured to. So by showing resistance and repeating your message in dialogue, in questioning, wondering, it allows the audience to also think about it with you. So you want to create that resistance to change. And then show some reflection on maybe I should change. And that was when I reflected on how my dad had written different stories and was humbled by thinking about that. And then I started writing a different story. So you really want the audience to feel that tug of war between how I've been and how I want to be, so that when you do change, they feel the change with you and they're relieved for you. And actually, without you having to do any work, they're already going, how can I write a different story, or whatever your message is? Okay. So you want to make sure that you show that resistance, you show that transformation, share how you've applied the lessons in your life. And then only right at the end do you need to have a call to action. You don't need to lecture them. You don't need to tell them what to do. They've already changed with you if you have changed as a result of it. Okay, so get clear on your message, intentionally write your story and craft it and simplify it as much as you can. And the thing that will help you do that is if you fill in the gaps your audience has. And this is where feedback is crucial. My 2 speeches would not have gone the distance if I hadn't received feedback, because up until I asked other people what they thought, I was writing my speech for me. When I received feedback from my fellow Toastmasters, I could start changing my speeches to meet the audience's need. Because often you are so close to your story, there are details that you don't think are important, so you just leave them out. The audience is left wanting extra bits that maybe you haven't put in. And only if you ask them and then apply that, can you improve your speech. So I'll give you some examples from my speech, things that I changed because my audience had some gaps. People felt that 40 was quite young to have gotten my life right. What about someone who was older? And that was like, oh, what do I do? Because that's when it changed for me. So I did 2 simple things. I mentioned that my dad was 60 when his life got difficult. And I put in 1 line of saying, it doesn't matter what chapter of your life you're in. I put that in for anyone who was older than 40 who maybe also wanted to feel some hope. Other people were saying to me, Verity, I love that you changed and you wrote a different story, but how long did the change happen? Like if I'm trying to change my life, how long did it take for you? I'd never thought to put that in. So then I said, it took 6 months to leave the spare room, a year to meet my husband, 4 years to have a baby. So these are the little things that you can do that help your audience to have no questions while they're listening to you. They can be fully present to your story and they're not left wondering, but you have to ask them. And then that brings you to the final step, the T of gift, which is tie it all together. By the time you get to your conclusion, you want to make sure that you have pulled any threads you've had in your speech into one cohesive message. And in my speech, I start concluding by saying, I've realized that fairy tales are great to read to my son. That ties back to the introduction when my dad was reading fairy tales to me. And then I give it back to the audience that if your life is a book, you get to decide. So I'm not telling them, I'm saying you decide. Do you want it written for you or by you? And so always make sure that you are giving your audience space to choose the message, not feel like you're forcing it on them. And if you can, finish with your message statement That's fantastic. And I think, yeah, I said, pick up your pen, write a different story. And my last line was to tie all the way back to my introduction and say, it'll make for a great read. So you need to learn to look at your speech as a whole and go, if this is a gift, have I tied every ribbon, every idea together so that when the audience walks away with it, they've got a complete package and they're not left with any holes. So those are 4 really simple steps. G, get clear on your message. I, intentionally craft your story so that it creates tension, curiosity, connection, and commitment in the audience to adopt your message. F, fill in the gaps that they have. Ask them what they need from your story. And T, tie it all together so that you can give them the gift that is your message. Now, what is so important to remember is that often your story that you're thinking and you're trying to find a speech and you think it has to be a life-changing moment, remember that you have got moments and memories in your life that are white elephants to you. You've long forgotten their value. You've not even think it's that important. But when you're looking for inspiration for a speech contest, think back to small little moments, funny little things that taught you something, that humiliated you, that changed you, and see if you can tell that story in such an engaging and intriguing way that the audience absolutely loves it. It does not, and this is Mark Brown, the 1995 world champion, says your story does not have to be sensational. It just needs to be sincere. And so this is a matter of trusting that your stories, your life experience, your moments, your memories, they matter. But know that there is never going to be a first version speech you write that is going to be enough to win this level of contest. You want to be writing a minimum of 30. You want to be practicing everywhere. You want to be finding a coach and a mentor who work with you, who hold you to a higher standard and also nurture your insecurities, because poor Lance, I phoned him, oh, I want to give up. This is so hard. And he said, Verity, I went through this, and we could talk and we could share. So just make sure that you set yourself up with people that are going to hold you through the effort it takes to do a contest, and that you will trust that your story matters, but write it so that you get clear on your message, you intentionally structure it to take your audience on a journey, you fill in the gaps so that they're never left wondering, and you tie it all together. And that, my friends, is how you win and write a winning story. But what I'm going to say to you is it does start with buying a ticket. But unlike the lottery, which is based on luck, this one is based on hard work and deliberate effort and determination. But if you buy the ticket, if you put your name in the hat, if you have a champion mindset of going, you know what, I'm going to embrace the obstacles, the challenges, I'm going to make the effort, I'm going to make friends with feedback, I'm going to lean into and learn from the success of others, then regardless of the results, you will win. You will gain the gift of growth that comes from this contest, because only one person is guaranteed the trophy. Everyone else is guaranteed the growth. So I really hope that you will pick up your pen, start writing your story, your legacy, your message that matters, and give that as a gift to your audience every time you speak. I promise it's going to make for a great read. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much, DTM Verity, for that very inspiring talk. That was actually indeed the most inspiring 30 minutes of my life. And I feel so honored that I get to be the one to ask the questions. And actually, I feel that it's not just me who's inspired. As you can see in the chat box, there are a lot of quotes that our members and our guests have gotten from your talk. So thank you very much for these words. And I love all of these bits of information, pieces of information that you've left us. A great speech is not written, it's rewritten. And that it actually made me think that what you said, that you have to start writing your speech if you really want to buy that ticket and enter or join that contest. It has to be 3 months before club contest period. And it got me thinking, club contest period is about 3 to 4 months from now. So I guess we have to start writing our speech. Now, Before we proceed to the next portion of our event, I would like to request everyone to turn on their cameras because, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows what's going to happen next. We will be having a photo op. And I think PRD Yang will be giving us the cue. Is that right?
Yes. For a while. Can I just seen first our world champion? May I ask everybody to please refrain first from using our chat box so we can get a very nice picture with our world champion. On a count of 1, 2, 3, everybody smile for a while. Give me some like a minute and so. One more. May I request everybody to please open your respective cameras also? So we'll be okay. In a count of 1, 2, 3. Smile, everybody. There you go. Thank you.
All right, thank you, PRD Yang. Now, before we go to our question and answer portion, we would like to share this video about our feature speaker. Let's play this video.
Maybe I'm crazy thinking that this might work. Maybe I'm crazy wanting something that might hurt. Maybe it's madness to start something that might end. Maybe it's easier to just not begin. Now maybe delusional, believing this stands a chance when so many before have proved that good things don't last. Seems a little bit naive to step in anyway, but I'd be crazy if I didn't take a step around the corner, confronting all that I don't know, the storms that I might weather, the times of being out of control, not having all the answers was never a reason not to try. What if the right brothers hadn't believed that they could fly? Believe that they could fly. I'd be crazy not to try.
Thank you so much. Just for everyone's information, that song was actually sang by DTM Verity. I'd like to know, was that the song that you crowdfunded? That was crowdfunded?
It's actually from my second album, so no, it's from a different album, but relevant to this journey.
Oh wow!
And
All
it's
right.
the gift that I'm giving. If you sign up for my newsletter, you can receive that copy of that song as well.
Wow, thank you so much for that. Beautiful, beautiful gift. Now, let's go over to, of course, the portion that we've been waiting for. Next portion that we've been waiting for. It is the question and answer portion. Now, if everyone found this speech inspiring and exciting, I'm pretty sure this one is more interesting. Now, at this point, I'll be asking the questions that was sent to us by the attendees who took the time to send their questions when they registered. First question would be, you have such a unique name, Verity, Truth. Now, what priceless truth did your story carry for a diverse audience such as Toastmasters?
Wow. Thank you. So yeah, it's been quite a name to live with. My parents never let me lie. It's made me incredibly honest. But I think for me, that life story, and it has been my journey of having to learn to write different stories about difficult times in my life. And I think for everyone on the planet right now, with how much hardship we've gone through, we have the choice. We can look at how hard it is, or we can look at the opportunities and see how we can turn it to our advantage. And I think that's the truth for everyone. In every moment, you always have the choice in the story you tell about your circumstances. You don't always have control over your circumstances, but you do have control in the story you tell. And I think that's a truth for everyone.
All right. Thank you for that. And you would agree with me in saying that the name that we're given, we have to carry it all over. So I understand when you say that you cannot lie, because your name literally means truth. Now, second question is, how can you say that you've genuinely connected with your audience through your speech founded in your life story?
A great question. I think if you look at your life story, and then you have to look at where is what I've experienced similar to what other people have experienced. And so again, I can come back to that example of that school friend. I think that's quite a universal experience of there's always someone who's doing better than us and we don't like seeing it. So it's going, how can I look at things that have happened to me and find that connection with the audience where they will have had a similar experience. And again, with my dad losing a job, having to start over, a lot of people have gone through that. And there was the choice of how do I talk about it. So your life story is everyone's story, actually. If you look at the universal themes of courage, commitment, giving up, devastation, these are things everyone experiences. So you've just got to learn to tell that story in a way that other people can put themselves in your shoes.
All right. So I guess it's just a matter of perspective, right? You don't have to look elsewhere. Just look within yourself. There's a story in all of us.
Yeah.
Now, this third question is a bit interesting. It's an agree or a disagree question. Anyone can join a contest. Not everyone can be a world speech champion. Do you agree or disagree with this?
No, I 100% agree. There's a very small amount of Toastmasters who will ever go all the way to become the world champion, just because of the nature of the competition. So that's not to say that someone didn't have a speech this year that was better than mine, but maybe their first speech didn't get them through. So there is an element of luck or chance. But I think everyone can enter the contest to become a better speaker. And I don't think we should limit ourselves going. And for many years, I didn't join because I had the story. I don't have what it takes to win this contest. And the only reason I'm here now is I decided to change that narrative and go, but what if I do? And then I gave it everything. But not everyone's going to win. And I don't think that's why everyone joins. It's fun. It's a fun thing to do at your club. It's a fun way to lift your game as a speaker. So enter for the growth.
All right. Yeah. And I love what you said in your talk when you said that only one gets a trophy, but for the rest of us, we get growth. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Now, for the fourth question. Now, question number 4 is, how was it like to be competing as the only woman and non-native English speaker in the World Championship of Public Speaking? Or did you even think about that at all? And if ever you had any apprehensions or if ever you had anxiety, how did you overcome it?
So I was the only woman. English is my native language, so I was lucky on that, where some of the other contestants, it wasn't. But when I saw the finalists announced, I went, oh, okay, I'm the only girl. And they were all these incredibly suave, professional men. And I just said, right, you're going to have to bring it, sister. You're going to have to own it and I was speaking about like girly things like fairy tales. So I just owned the choice I'd made in my speech choice. I owned that I have my own unique voice. And in fact, Lance Miller, my coach, he sent me a message on the day of the final saying, you're the only woman in the final stand-up, but you need to stand on the uniqueness of you and the message that you have for the world. Trust that, it's enough. And that really helped me. I realized it wasn't about men or women. It was about the message at the end.
All right. Stand in the uniqueness of you. I love that. Now, question number 5 would be, you're one of the few women who broke the perceived glass ceiling in World Championship of Public Speaking. What advantages or disadvantages do women have in this competition, and how can women overcome them, if ever?
So this is a big one that people often ask. And I know my sister Kay, when she reached the semifinals, she said to her, she said, I know why women aren't there. If you're a mother and working, when do you have the time to keep competing year after year? And when she came second, world champion Mark Hunter said to her, I hope you're coming back. And she was like, oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. So I think one of the things that holds a lot of women back in this contest is if they are mothers, the traveling. The only reason I've won this was it was virtual. This was never going to be an option for me with an 18-month-old baby. So I think that is just the way that our society is structured, that as a mother, we sometimes prioritize our family and we don't have the time to commit to put in that energy and effort. I don't think it's because there's a difference between male and female speakers. I think you get exceptional speakers regardless of the gender. So it's just going, are they able to make the time and prioritize it? It was difficult for my family. This was not easy, and it felt a lot to take all that time away. But I think as more women put this in their sights, they will make the time to make it happen. Because I'm now the 6th, and 3 of us have been in the last 8 years or so. So things are hotting up.
I love that. Yeah, things are actually looking up for us, and I definitely agree. The virtual ground or the virtual setting has definitely helped us be able to compete, so we don't have to travel. All right. Now, question number 6 is, this is a personal one, I think. What is there for you beyond winning the World Champion of Public Speaking? What are your plans personally, professionally, and as a Toastmaster?
But that's the big shock that comes when you win something like this. You work so hard to win it, and then it's like, now what? I can never compete again. Now what? But it's opened up so many possibilities for me. Professionally, I am a professional speaker, I'm a professional facilitator, so it has put me out in the world even more to be able to help others and to get my work into the world. But as a Toastmaster, these workshops are where I get to give back. And I think for anyone who enters this and is hoping to win, you need to know that the win is not yours. The win is owned by the entire Toastmasters organization, and you belong to Toastmasters. And it would be incredibly selfish not to give back what you've gained in that journey. So that's the journey I'm on now, is how to do this. And this is only my 3rd meeting that I've done since winning. I took 2 months out to go, what is it that I want to say? And that's how I've arrived at this idea of a speech being a gift. And now I need to give it back.
All right. And thank you very much for, of course, choosing to be live here with us. It is actually a great gift for us. And you also deserve a break. Now, right? For question number 7. What is the set criteria that you use in selecting a chapter in your life that would make for a winning speech? I know there are a lot of interesting stories. So what's the criteria for you?
No, I think it's the criteria for me is there a story that I have fun telling that holds a message within it? And so a good place to look is, what are the stories you often find yourself telling, maybe at a dinner party, maybe after a few drinks? You're always telling people about that time something went wrong at the airport, or you lost your job and how you changed. If you've got stories you already love telling, play with them, because there might be a really powerful message within it. Again, as Mark Brown said, it doesn't have to be sensational, it has to be sincere. And this is the biggest challenge, I think, of the contest, is finding that story. So also ask yourself this, and I meant to say it earlier, so I'm glad I get to say it now. And I think it was Lance Miller, long before he became my coach, in one of his training videos, he says, if you enter this contest and you're hoping to get to the finals, you need to think about that final speech as 7 minutes where you get to speak to the world. And if you were guaranteed that you could speak to the planet for 7 minutes, what would you want them to know? And then that's the speech you have to write. So maybe start with, what is your overarching message for the world, and then find the story that allows you to deliver it.
Wow, that's definitely something big. And that is definitely something to think about. Thanks for that.
No pressure.
Now, right, no pressure from us. Now, here is our last question. And for those of us who are watching who also would like to ask their questions, this is being recorded and we will be sending it to Verity so that she can check it out and answer when you have the time. And maybe you can also share what website they can reach you out or send you a message. Now, question number 8 is to all Toastmasters, especially women and, well, non-native speakers like me, like all of us, who aspire to be world speech champions. What will be your message to them and advice?
So firstly, buy your ticket, choose that you want it to happen. And then I think the big one here is you do need to lean into and learn from the success of others. So watch previous champions, see what the common threads are in the way those speeches are approached. And many champions that have won, English was not their first language. So that is not something that stops people from winning. So I think it's important we remember that. For women, I'll say this, and that was my journey, is when you write your speech, you need to make sure that men resonate with your speech as well. And that's, you need to speak to both parts of the audience. And it's very, very important that you draw everyone in. So in my speech, when I first started and I was disappointed, I was single, blah, blah, blah. The men are like, oh my word, here comes another woman. And so when I brought in my dad and the fact that he'd lost his job and he'd become salesman of the year, I found a way to also speak to the men in the audience. And that was a very intentional choice. So write your speech for everyone and get feedback from different people, from different ages, different genders, different cultures, so that you see that it's landing universally. As I said, I practiced on 5 continents. And I spoke to clubs where no one spoke English as a first language, and I spoke in America, and I let them let me know what they needed so that my speech was more international. I wouldn't have won without that feedback. I would have come from a South African perspective, and I don't think it would have gone the distance.
All right. All inclusive. All right. Thank you very much, DTM Verity. This is awesome. Again, it is such an honor. And of course, because we would like to honor DTM Verity, I would like to now call on our District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Richard Cuajo, to give the certificate of appreciation to our keynote speaker.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Robbie. So Toastmaster Verity, in behalf of Division K of District 75, we want to present this certificate of appreciation for your effort, for gracing us as our guest of honor and resource speaker for tonight's event, and most importantly, for reminding all of us that indeed our great speeches is our gift to the world. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It is such a privilege to be here and a pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much, DTM Richard and Verity. Now, we're already at the final points of our event. But before we go any further, I'd like to call on Division Director Julius again on the virtual floor for a brief announcement.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Robbie. So can I request the slides from our PRD, Yang? All right, so a quick announcement. It is said that learning is a journey without a finish line. And it is coming from this nugget of wisdom that we would want to recognize our Division K Toastmasters who are taking the extra mile to really learn and grow by attending each and every Division K learning event, such as this one. Because I believe that in every learning event, we can really grow in value. And I believe that we have benefited from the fire hydrant of wisdom coming from what DTM Verity Prize has shared. So in consideration of this, we are now formally announcing our rewards and recognition program for the Division K Toastmasters. So there will be 3 of them who shall be able to attend the most number of Division K trainings within this current Toastmaster year. Now, so if it's a recognition, a rewards and recognition, so what are the rewards. So next slide, please. Now, we will have 3 winners. The first place winner, so he or she will be the Toastmaster in Division K, who will be able to attend the most number of Division K trainings in this current Toastmaster year. The first prize will be his or her Toastmasters membership fee for the period of October 1, 2022 to March 30 of 2023 shall be subsidized or shouldered. Now, if that first place winner is a member of corporate club, and normally when you're a member of a corporate club, the company pays for your membership fee, the cash equivalent of that membership fee for 6 months will be given to the first place winner, right? So isn't that amazing and exciting, right? So you attend many trainings, and here you are given the prize to be continuously a member of Toastmasters International. So that will be for the first place winner. Now for the second place winner, he or she will receive a cash prize of 1,000 pesos. And for the third place winner, he or she will receive a cash prize of 500 pesos. Okay, now perhaps you're asking, so how will we get to know if we have attended the most number of Division K trainings? Well, the basis shall be the attendance. Just like what we're having right now, your attendance in this training will be recorded through the survey form that you will be encouraged to answer towards the end of this meeting. So your completion of that survey form shall serve as a documented evidence of your attendance, and all of these evidences shall be used as basis for us, the Division K Council, to choose the first, second, and third place winners by January 15 of next year, just before the current Toastmaster year ends. So what are you waiting for? Let's maximize this opportunity to grow by learning and doing, and know that, once again, the only way for our tomorrow to be better is if we are growing today, as John C. Maxwell would say. So get ready to receive the first, second, and third prizes. Get ready to grow. Thank you very much, and back to you, our Toastmaster of the day, TM Robbie.
All right, thank you so much, Division Director Julius. It actually made me think, how many events have I already attended? Now, just to remind everyone, please answer the evaluation form for this event, or the survey form. Answering the survey form is very important because, number one, it'll help us formulate better events for you. And of course, you need to answer this because this will be the basis of your attendance and your certificate as well. Now, this is another moment that we've been waiting for. This is, right now at this point, we're going to have a raffle. So I would like the tech team to share the wheel of names for us to draw the lucky guest member that will be winning in our raffle.
I ask everybody to view my shared screen.
Is it just me, or I can't seem to see the name? So would it be okay to announce the winner once the wheel of names has chosen already?
Yes. And by the way, TM Robbie, let's first raffle for the third prize. And the third prize is a Toastmaster tote bag. Okay, an everyday Toastmaster bag, right?
I have like 146 names in here, DTM.
Congratulations, Samer Kamal. And Samer Kamal will be getting, Division Director Julius, what will Samer be getting?
Yeah, so Samer Kamal will be getting a Toastmaster tote bag. It's an everyday bag from Toastmasters International.
All right, congratulations.
Should we proceed now on the next?
Yes, please. DTM Julius, how many will be the winner? How many winners will we be drawing?
So we have a total of 3, so we already had 1 down, so we have 2 more. So for the second prize, the winner will receive a copper mask. Very helpful in today's pandemic times.
All right, very timely. Okay, congratulations, Meryl, Trinidad. And our last but not least winner will be...
Yes, Tim Robbie, the first place winner will be receiving a Toastmasters laptop bag.
Wow. Congratulations, Lady Anne Okemia, for winning a Toastmasters laptop bag. All right, congratulations to all of the winners of our raffle. Kindly send a message to our tech team for your details, name, address, phone number, so that we could get in touch with you. All right. Now that our event is coming to a close, I'd like to call on for the last time our district director, distinguished Toastmaster Richard Guajo, for his closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Robbie. How are you, former fellow Toastmasters from Division K, District 75, and all over the world? So, first of all, I would like to once again thank Toastmaster Verity for sharing to us her story tonight. Indeed, she said it best when she said, great speeches are our gift to our audience. And I hope to all our fellow Toastmasters who attended this training, you will now start writing your own story and share these stories and use it as your gift to the audience. It's very timely because contest season is fast approaching, and we would really hope that tonight Toastmaster Verity would have inspired all of you to write your best story, and not only for the contest, but every time you do deliver your speeches. So congratulations to all the organizers, to Julius Cruz, Division Director, Division K, as always, very amazing and very fun and amazing, full of surprises, full of prizes event. Congratulations. I would like to encourage all the division officers here in Division K to continue what you're doing, because certainly you're doing a great job. And to all our fellow Toastmasters, thank you for spending your Saturday evening with us. Thank you, Toastmaster Verity, once again, and good evening, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Back to you, Toastmaster Robbie.
All right. Thank you very much, District Director Richard, for that closing remarks. Now, I hope everyone learned a lot, had fun, and enjoyed this evening's talk, this evening's event. And I'm pretty sure that after this, we're all going to get ready for writing our story. All right. Now, this is the part that, well, we don't really want this, but everything has to come to an end. Now, to adjourn our meeting for today, our event for today, I now give you Division Director Julius to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Robbie, for that impeccable hosting skills that you have shared with us, guiding us throughout this learning event. It is said that it is not the years in your life, but the life in your years that truly matter. And with this, fellow Toastmasters, friends and guests, I believe we have been blessed with what we have witnessed for today. So by the power vested in me by Toastmasters International, as Director of Division K under District 75, I now declare our learning event for today as officially closed. Thank you very much once again, everyone, for being with us, and enjoy your weekend. All the best.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
I love you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I would like to request the Division K Council and the project team to please stay behind.
It's madness to start.
Thank you for